This is the Black Creative Handbook with your girl, Cassandra Lauren Gordon. And I am here with, you don't leave me hanging.
Marques Ogden.
Great. Can we just say it one more time? And I am here with
Marques Ogden.
Great. And what do you do?
I am an international and national keynote speaker, executive coach, best-selling author, and podcast co-host.
There you go. All succinct, all into there. We're going to dissect that later on in the podcast. But what we hear is to talk about the process stories. Everyone glamorizes the overnight success and all that, but we want to know how to get from A to B and how did you get to the level of where you are. But we're going to take it a little bit back. We want to just know you just randomly how you are. So we have these quick fire questions. I ask you random things and you just speak on it. You just speak. Could be random. So a random one is like, do you like yellow or blue? And then you say which one you like and why. So yellow or blue?
Blue.
And why?
I like, actually blue is the color of our website. So that's kind of our color of our brand. So blue definitely for sure.
And you're wearing blue too. So that, it works out really, really, really well. Okay. Do you like dinner or breakfast?
Dinner.
Why is that?
I go to the gym every day in the morning, so I'm not a big breakfast person. I will eat breakfast with my family, like on a weekend or a special occasion. But when it comes down to that, I'm all about the dinner. I'm like steak, and I'm a big meat and vegetables kind of guy.
Understood. Are you an Apple person or Android person?
Without a doubt, Apple. There's only Apple in this house.
Okay, understood. Are you a night owl or are you an early bird?
Early bird all day.
So what time do you wake up then?
About during the week, about 4:45 or 5 o'clock, help my wife and my daughter get off to school and work. And then I'm at the gym by 5:30, and then I'm getting my day going and I'm ready to roll.
Okay, you seem like a very fit gym person. Tell us more about your gym routine. What do you do?
So I go every day. I lift 6 days a week. So like I'll have legs one day. I'll do chest and tries the next day, back and buys the next day, shoulders the next day. Then I'll start the cycle back. And then I'm big on cardio, like running or playing basketball, and also doing core like sit-ups and push-ups and stretching. I used to be an NFL athlete. I was almost lineman in the NFL. So I used to be a much bigger guy. So I like trying to make sure I keep my weight nice and stabilized. I don't want to get to the point where I'm getting really big again, because that was my early career, not what I'm doing today.
Wow, the discipline. I just want to just walk me through the discipline of getting fit, because I find that hard. I find it hard. Today I did do a 10K. I think that's about 6 miles in empirical, but it's just like, tell me the mindset for you to go to the gym every day.
The mindset, Cassandra, is that if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it for me. And I finished reading a book called The Breakthrough Code. And it's one of the things they talk about in the book is do the things you hate to get the results you want. And that's life. You have to do what you hate to get what you want. And I love how you said, everybody talks about the overnight successes. There is no overnight success. Oh, that kid was an NFL #1 draft pick. He's an overnight success. Well, he's been playing football probably at least since high school, if not earlier. He's not just saying, hey, here I am, make me #1 draft pick overnight. Like, same thing in basketball, football, business. I've been speaking now for 9 years. I didn't get to the point I have all these clients just saying, hey, here I am, a former athlete, hire me. That's how I thought it was going to go. But of course, reality set in real quick. I need to have references. I need to have, credibility. I need to have value. So it took me a long time to get where I'm at today. So I tell people all the time, there is no overnight success.
Thank you for clarifying that. I have the most respect for athletes. The discipline is unreal. I want to be at athlete level discipline, and you have a family and stuff like that. So you're not just thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how you're going to provide, make sure everyone is okay. So respect for you. Okay. cannot be here complaining when I'm talking to a very disciplined athlete about me going to the gym. Okay, so you have helped me to just shut up and just do it, just get there, because I don't know, my body changed in my 30s, man. I just can't just get away with can't get away with it. I have to put in the work. Can't get, my body said nope.
That's right. That's right. I'm 41, so trust me, I understand very well.
Thank you very much for that. And I was going to ask you the last quick fire question. Do you prefer to write or do you prefer to type?
I prefer to type.
And why is that?
You know, I'm not big on sitting down and writing something out. Now, I will write out my achievements, what I want, you know, the results I want. I'm very big on that, you know, but even then, even I kind of type those into phone, right? So I'm not big on writing as much because of technology, but I am a big believer in writing stuff out or typing it out. But because technology makes things so much easier, I love to be able to type on my phone in the notes section, hey, Marques, do this. Hey, Marques, do that. Because that way, when I'm traveling or going somewhere, my phone comes with me. If I write it on a sticky note, leave it on my office table, it's not the same effect.
Okay, understood. And it's all saved, I guess. It's probably on the cloud. You have everything. You don't have to like, oh, what's my notes? It's all there. So yeah, okay, understood. So since you're a very multi-passionate person doing different things in your introduction, which one do you want to, which one should we dissect first? Which one do you want to talk about first, about what you do?
Let's go right down the line. Keynote speaking is literally what started everything for me.
Okay. Tell us about that, because everyone thinks in this day and age of doing speaking. So how did you start your speaking career?
So I started my speaking career, Cassandra, by talking to my inner circle, letting them know what I wanted to do. And they were saying, okay, Marques, I'll keep an eye out and all that kind of stuff. And then I just leveraged, I did a lot of free jobs. I did free jobs at elementary school football teams, Pop Warner football teams, middle school, high school, non-for-profits. My first ever job, period, was for the Boys and Girls Club of Raleigh in the downtown Raleigh area for their board of trustees donation night. They were trying to get more of their board of trustees to donate more money to the Boys and Girls Club. That was my first ever keynote speech. Wasn't paid, but it was my first one ever. My first corporate one came for a company called NetApp. And I knew one of the gentlemen because I trained both his sons in football. And he gave me an opportunity to speak for NetApp. I actually ended up bombing the job. I did horrible. Got really great feedback from him. He hired me about 6 months later to come in again for free. And I did another job, and I did that job very well. And I executed on what I was hired for. And as a result of that, he then brought me in to do other things. He gave me a reference letter, and that kind of helped me on the corporate scene. But I didn't get my first paid job, Cassandra, for 2.5 years.
Oh,
that's how long it took me to get my first paid keynote speaking job. I worked other jobs. I was a custodian. I ran football camps. I did 7-on-7 leagues. I did all the things I could to take care of my family. But I didn't get a paid keynote speaking job for 2.5 years.
Wow. Walk me through that mindset then, because how did you know, had that self-belief, like, yeah, I'm going to do it?
You know what? I just kept saying to myself, if I quit today, this 6 months has been for nothing. This year has been for nothing. 18 months, 24 months. Then I got to 30 months, and finally a school, a university, Miller Mock College, hired me for my first keynote and paid me $1,500. That was my very first job. That was my very first check. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this job I'm doing, if I don't get a check from them or something, right then and there, if they have to mail me something later, I don't know if I can get home because I'm not going to have enough money for gas. So when I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina in 2013, I lost my business. So I went bankrupt, home foreclosed on, cars repossessed. All of my money was gone except for $400. When I moved to Raleigh, we had $400 to our name. No credit cards, no business, no ARs, nothing. See, no equity in a home, no 401ks, no IRAs, zero. $400. I did have a job lined up for Merrill Lynch, but I wasn't starting the job until the middle of the month. I wasn't going to get paid until the end of the following month because I missed the pay cycle. So I literally came down here with nothing. I had to start completely over. And that's who I am, and that's what I'm about. And speaking now that I've learned the value, that I've been coached, that I know how to do our craft, and I continue to get better every day, and I continue to work hard every day. We've been very fortunate, Cassandra, to speak for 38 Fortune 500 brands in the last 6 years. Of the 38, 15 are Fortune 100, 5 are Fortune 25. And we have developed, Cassandra, a few signature keynotes. The first one is called The Ego Mistake, from 8 figures to 825 per hour. Because my ego got in the way, Cassandra, it cost me an 8-figure-a-year business that I owned, that I started, and I had an 8-figure company. We were up to $15 million a year in revenue. That was 2012. 2013, my ego cost me a horrible mistake, and I ended up losing everything. And then I became a custodian because I was fired from Merrill Lynch and another job in the same week. And I then started making $825 per hour.
I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt. I might not know, there might be a difference of terminology in the UK. So when you mean custodian, what do you mean?
A janitor. You're cleaning up you're cleaning, toilets and brooms and push all that stuff. So that's what I did to support my family, and I made $8.25 an hour. So one of our
No, I just wanted you to pick your brains about your mindset, because I know you have for family, but how did you get from there? And like, I just got to sweep. I just got to clean these toilets. How, like, what were you going through? Like,
my mindset was bending, but it didn't break, but it was close to breaking. I was so frustrated. I was so down and out. I was so just, demoralized because my ego got in the way. So I literally had to put myself in the mindset that if I'm going to do this, I got to get back and I got to take care of my family. Otherwise, I'm not going to get anywhere. So that's why we call that signature keynote The Ego Mistake, from 8 figures to 825 per hour. We have another signature keynote called Self-Absorption Causes Self-Destruction. And we talk about, I was so self-absorbed with my company. I cared about money, fame, notoriety, all these different things. And because of that, I became a really horrible egomaniac boss, not a good leader. And in this keynote, we tell people how to develop and maintain strong leadership skill sets, how to have emotional intellect to connect with people, because that's so important. Another keynote we have is called At 32. At 32 years old, Cassandra, I lost everything. That was 2013. I was 32 years old. And this keynote talks about the importance of maintaining professional development. This way, you know how to treat people, you know how to have what we call the character ethics, honesty, loyalty, dependability. And we talk about that in this keynote. Another signature keynote is called Drop the Poker Face. Selling requires authenticity. I'm a big poker player. I'm all about being able in poker to try to, trick people and trying to get them to think I'm not strong when I am, but that's poker. But when it comes to selling, you have to be authentic. People want to know who you are, what you're about. To me, authenticity is the innate ability to be able to be real, honest, and raw with people, no matter how they look at you or judge you. And another one we have, another signature keynote is called recycling versus trashing company culture. If the culture is not well in organization, you can recycle it. You can take things that are maybe missing or things that might have a little bit of an issue and get creative and recycle it to make the culture you want. Don't just trash and say, I'm through with this, throw it away. And then the culture gets even worse because you're not willing to put the effort in. So what we've been doing now, Cassandra, is these signature keynotes are really how you can only get them from us, right? So it's our story. Now, we talk about things, leadership, all that within it, but the signature keynotes were named because they are very much heartfelt, and it comes from us and what we've gone through to help people get to where they want to go. So that's how our keynotes have been really successful in getting in front of more people and changing more lives.
Wow, powerful, powerful. I know there's a slight age difference, but it just reminds me when I was in my early 30s, and it's just like I lost a lot. And it just I don't know what it is in the American equivalent, but like going to the dole office, the welfare office.
Oh yeah. And
you're just like, and it's not like I'm afraid to go to it, but it's the how they treat you. And it's like, every 2 weeks when you report to the welfare office or the welfare officer to see if you can get your money, your basic benefits to live and stuff like that, they make you feel like you weren't trying. Like, like for a job, it's just like a normal job is like you apply, it takes a couple of weeks for someone to get back to you, then you got to wait a couple of weeks for your interview. It could be like 6 weeks by the time you do your application to when you get an interview. And it's just like what was going through my mind then, and comparing to you, like when you have dependents, you have a house, you have mortgage, you have all those type of things. It's just a testament to you about how resilient you are. There must be so much to learn from your keynote speeches and what you do, because having that resilience and that faith to overcome that at that age, it's just, I'm in awe. I am in awe.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool. So now we talked about the keynote speeches. What else would you like to talk about around that?
The coaching. Coaching, Cassandra, is one of my passions. We have been coaching so many people one-on-one and small group coaching. And what I tell people is our USP, aka unique selling proposition, or you can call it a UBR, unique buying reason, is that you get not only from me in the coaching, my success stories, but my failures as well. And I feel coaches who have failed and can really go in that regard, I think it's so important to help them in that regard, give them what they need to have done in that regard.
Wow. So you're very explicit with your failures. How do people say that? Because sometimes people just like, it's seen as weak.
No, and you know what? That's how so many people think, but it's not the truth. But a lot of times it's our own self-image that makes us feel that we can't share or we can't be honest or we can't express things. And that's what happens. We become our own worst enemy. And when that happens, we end up saying, I'm not going to share. I'm not going to be real. I'm not going to be vulnerable because I don't want to be judged. But usually the harshest judge is just ourselves. So when you get by that, that's when you can start being vulnerable and sharing, which allows people to what? Relate to you, which is so important in everyday life.
Understood. So some people might say, okay, you're an athlete, you've done all these great things, you made $1 million, you've got all this thriving business. How did you craft a really great speech? So what is the method to you? Like, okay, how am I going to move people to really connect to what you're saying and to have an impact?
You must understand what the client wants from you. Then from there, take different, methodologies, different ideologies that relate to that topic. Then you need to tell your story, but make sure you're telling a part of your life story that is in direct relation to what the client needs from you. Once you have done that, then you can follow up with challenging the audience and then giving them action steps and strategies to succeed in whatever topic you were hired to speak on. Once you do that, then from there, right, Cassandra, everything else will just work itself out. But a lot of times people are trying to always, there's nothing wrong with giving action steps and strategies in your speech. You're supposed to. But if you rely heavily on that and you're not giving people stories, metaphors, visual images they can look at and kind of put themselves in your shoes, then you won't be as impactful as a speaker because people are not touched by your message. They only are getting the action steps, but in order to really allow the action steps to sink in, you have to believe and have faith and or trust in who you're listening to can relate to you in some capacity.
Wow, nothing but the truth. Okay. And I guess with your coaching as well, it's trying to get, I understand about the speech, but with the coaching, you're trying to help people to overcome certain challenges. So how do you take them from where they are to the next step?
First thing I ask my clients, tell me your story. What 3 things are your strongest? What do you want to improve upon? And what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What do you want the results to be? Once I know that, once things are, very much aligned in that regard, then I build a customized program to each client. This way we can maximize what the client needs and can go in the right direction in that regard.
Okay, understood. So you mentioned quite a lot of things in your introduction. We've got down the public speaking and the coaching. What else is one of your talents?
Consulting, working with people on larger groups, less time, per month. So I'll work with a group like consulting, like for 1 hour or so per month, or, it's a little bit different of a setup. But this time we're figuring out what the client needs from us. Then we are creating and concocting different programs, different content, different PowerPoints that we can share and discuss with our clients each month. But we're also leading more of an open dialogue session. When it comes to consulting, it's about giving people things to do, right? But also having conversations, having dialogue around how can we really and truly get them to start sharing ideas, sharing their thoughts, because they're the ones that are working for the company. So consulting is more of an open forum, open dialogue type of scenario. We're leading and moderating it, creating the content and the PowerPoints for it. But this is where our clients interact with each other to try to really come about with some things to solve the problems that the sales team or the leadership team is experiencing within the organization.
Understood. So you've seen where that, okay. I see how you are, the journey from the start to finish to get them where they want to be. Okay. So if someone comes for our audience to understand the process, to understand how you got through, very tricky circumstances and how you're successful now. But if someone wanted to become a keynote speaker or a coach, what would you say to them? What are the essentials they need to know?
Number 1, what is your story? Okay, let's do speaking. Number 1, what is your story? 2, who is your target audience? 3, who can you connect with in your inner circle to start helping you get out and do what you want to do? Okay, coaching. Number 1, what is your USP, unique selling proposition, right? What's going to make you a better coach than somebody else? 2, what do you want to coach in? Is it business coaching? Is it life coaching? Is it health and wellness coaching? Figure out what is going to be the type of content you're going to be delivering. And then 3rd, Continue to get out and tell your inner circle that's what you're doing. There's 4 parts to any successful business. There is marketing, there is sales, there is operations, there is finance. So you have to, first things first, if you're going to be a speaker or a coach, go out and market yourself. If you're not marketing yourself, then nobody's going to know you exist. If they don't know you exist, Cassandra, they can never buy your products.
All like they're so succinct. I think like you absolutely preaching to the choir. So now you've set all these programs, you set up your coaching and your speaking. What is next? How do you see yourself the next couple of years?
Next, we're getting into more online courses and getting into more types of partnerships where we can create a lot more residual income by utilizing our brand and our position and what we're all about to align with organizations that we feel is going to be a really good fit. And once we do that, this way we can start to be more selective, which we're already starting to do anyway, with our client base, because we're wanting to really work with people, right, Cassandra? They're going to start putting and implementing these things into action, because we're not going to implement what we talk about. Then I don't want you to waste your time or your money. So we're really big in that regard.
I'm just thinking in this day and age with lots of Instagram and everyone's stunting online and like, you know, everyone's successful by the time they're 19 and you have the Kylie Jenners and stuff like that. How do you say to someone not to feel failure, not to be afraid of it? Like you are going to have it. You're not everyone's going to get a Birkin bag by the age of 21.
Every successful person has failed. To what degree have they failed? I don't know. But every successful person has failed. Warren Buffett says it best. He'll never invest in a business owner that hasn't failed at least 5 times. Because you need to learn how to not let failure take over your life. And like for me, I failed in a construction company, big time. I failed trying to start a consulting business. I failed trying to launch a podcast. I failed trying to launch a coaching business. I failed trying to get into the clothing business. But today I'm successful at speaking, coaching, consulting, podcast, brand ambassador. Why? Because going through my life, I learned a lot about failure, and I've lived it and I've been through it. Now at 41, I know how to look out for it. I know what it looks like. I know what it smells like. I know owners who are going to let their egos get in the way. I can see things coming because I've gone through so much. And today, I'm a totally different person. I'm a humble leader. I'm always very appreciative. And all those things are really, really important in that regard.
Okay. So this podcast is also about, you know, helping people like yourselves who get to the next level and stuff like that. But what about someone who says, like, to a more creative side, to the more creative audience, and like, oh, I'm a creative, I'm an artist, or I want to do that. How do they get into their public speaking, or how do they want to coach people? Because creative needs love too. So they might not see themselves as corporate, but they might see themselves as creative.
That does it. But again, it goes back to lesson number 1. What are you speaking on? What are you coaching on? Figure that out. If you're more creative, artistic, stay in your lane. Find people that can, music conferences happen all the time. People are looking to help for entrepreneurs that are into that creative space and, artistic and music and festivals. They're all out there. People that are trying to build a business in those industries, music, art, coach them. Know who your audience is. Once you figure that out, right, Cassandra, then reverse engineer backwards to get where you want to go in life. Okay,
understood. Creatives, don't just say, oh, this is corporate, because some people might think, oh, it's not for me. But in this podcast, we try to, you got to diversify. You got to see where your talents are and how you can help people. And I think sometimes creative people can be like, oh, it's not for them. So I just wanted just to open up and have an open mind. Okay, so we've heard all the great stuff, and I'm very touched by your story and how you overcome again and again, these obstacles in this life where people sometimes can be afraid of failure and don't want to own up to it on social media. So we've talked about that. What is through your speaking gigs or through your speaking, for your speeches, what was the best thing someone said to you, or a good testimonial, how you impacted them?
Best testimony I ever got was, Marques, your strength, your inspiration was the best I have ever heard. And this young lady is in her mid-30s, works in finance, been to many thousands of conferences, she said. She said, Marques, you're the first speaker to ever share his story, his or her, of real, authentic, vulnerable life experiences, and then tie it into a message and action steps I could use in my life. I related to you. I found a lot of emotional charge in your words, and you were the best speaker I've ever heard at any conference. Her name was Sarah, and she worked for a company called Wallach and Beth. And she was just phenomenal, and her words touched me. And that was only about maybe a month ago. I guess that was 3 or 4 weeks ago when I met her at my event in Charleston. She said, Marques, by far the best speaker that I've ever heard. And that really touched me when I heard that from Sarah.
Understood. Wow. And how did you feel?
Oh, it made me feel so much joy that my life could help others avoid their mistakes.
Because it's very expensive making mistakes, isn't it? When you can just hear it, and you can just tape of it. And for you to go through it, long.
Correct.
Okay. So how, obviously we're going to put things in the show notes. So how do we get in touch with you, connect with you, understand about what you do and how you have impact on so many people?
Best way is to go to our website, www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com, or shoot us an email, marques@marquesogden.com. Again, www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com, or shoot us an email, marques@marquesogden.com. Get in touch with us today and love to hear from you.
Perfect. So you hear it all with Marques and his great story and how much he's impacted people. So thank you very much for coming on this platform to share your messages and share your wisdom. And please speak soon. Like, this is the Black Creative Handbook with your host, Cassandra Lauren Gordon. Bye.